Hello! Today we're going to talk about dividing fractions. First, we're going to take a look at this question. How many 1/4 foot long pieces can you make out of a 2-foot long stick? So basically, if we've got a 1/4 of a foot long piece, and we're trying to figure out how that will fit in here, let's go ahead and first cut this down into fourths. So each foot is going to be able to divide into 4 quarters. So this will be 1/4, this will be another quarter, this will be another quarter right here, another quarter right here, right here, right here, and right here. So then we can just go ahead and count how many of these pieces we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it looks like we can make 8. Okay, so since we're taking these sticks and dividing them into smaller sizes, we can think of this problem as division. So we can write it as 2, the original length of our stick, divided by 1/4, the length of each of the pieces, equals 8. So now we want to think about how could I solve this problem without drawing a picture. So we would start out with this 2 divided by 1/4. And the trick that we're going to learn today is that dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal of a fraction. So right here, I want to find the reciprocal. So in order to find the reciprocal of a fraction, we take the denominator and we turn it into the numerator, and we take the numerator and we turn it into the denominator. So basically what we're doing when we find the reciprocal of a fraction is we're just flipping the fraction upside down. So it's kind of a big word, but it shouldn't be too intimidating. So now we have 2 times 4/1. And we've dealt with multiplying fractions before, so let's just go ahead and rewrite both of these as fractions. 2, we've got 2 wholes, so that'd be like if each stick was only divided into one big piece. So we can think about that as 2/1 times 4/1, and that will give us 8/1. And this is really telling me to do 8 divided by 1. So that'll just be 8. 8 whole pieces. So that's really all that you need to do for dividing fractions. If you start out with a problem that has division and it says something divided by a fraction, then you can just rewrite it as that same thing times the reciprocal of the fraction, and then do the multiplication just as we did in the multiplication lesson. So let's go ahead and take a look at another example of dividing by fractions. So right here, we're going to start out with 1/3 divided by 3/4. Okay, so we have our division. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is take the reciprocal of this fraction, go ahead and flip it. So we'll move the 3 into the bottom and the 4 up to the top. So then we'll have 1/3. Now that we've flipped the fraction, we can trade this in for a multiplication sign. Remember, we can use a dot or an asterisk or parentheses in order to represent multiplication. So now we're going to go ahead and do this multiplication. When we multiply fractions, remember, we go ahead and multiply the numbers across the top. That 1 times 4 give us 4. Then we multiply the numbers across the bottom. 3 times 3 would give us 9. So our final answer for 1/3 divided by 3/4 is going to be 4/9. We can't reduce this, we can't change it into a mixed number, that's just our final answer. Okay, now I'm going to give you some time to pause the video and try the next problem on your own. Okay, so here we have 5/7 divided by 2/3. So we can rewrite this as 5/7 times the reciprocal of 2/3. So we're going to flip this fraction upside down. That'll give us 3/2. Then we can multiply as we normally would. 5 times 3 will give us 15. And 7 times 2 will give us 14. So on this problem, this could be our final answer, or it could be that if we're doing some carpentry, or if someone specifically asks us for a mixed number answer, we would want this as a mixed number. So we can go ahead and say, how many times does 14 go into 15? Always, how many times does the bottom number go into the top? It'll go in once. So then we've got 14 minus, that'll give us a 1 as our remainder, 1 out of 14. So here we've got it came out 1 whole time, 1 will be our whole number, and we have 1/14 left over. Okay, so that would be how we would write our answer if we really wanted it as a mixed number. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and do another example. This one's a little bit different because you can see here we're dividing by a whole number. So we've got 1/5 divided by 6. So this 6 right here, I could say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each of these is a whole, so it's like each one of those has just been divided into one piece. So it'd just be over 1. 6/1 is how we would write this whole number as a fraction. So now I can say that I've got 1/5 divided by 6/1. So in order to change this division into multiplication, I'm just going to find the reciprocal of 6/1. So that will just be 1/6. Remember to flip your fraction upside down. And then we can go ahead and do our multiplication. 1 times 1 will give us 1. And 5 times 6 will give us 30. And that will be our final answer on this problem. Can't reduce it because 1 doesn't really divide by anything else. Okay, so here's another problem for you to practice. Okay, so we're starting out with 1/2 divided by 9. So again, remember that we can rewrite this 9 as a fraction just by putting it over 1. So now we have 1/2 divided by 9/1. And then we can go ahead and trade out this division for multiplication by flipping our fraction, finding the reciprocal. So that's going to be 1/9. So I've got 1/2 times 1/9. And then when we multiply those together, we'll have 1 times 1 gives us 1. And 2 times 9 gives us 18. And that will be our final answer for this problem. Can't reduce it any farther because 1 can't divide by anything else. Okay, so that's the end of our official lesson, but if you feel like you would like some more practice, I have some more practice down here. So go ahead and pause the video and try these on your own, and then I will show you the solution.